Hey, welcome back to the Outdoor Adventure Hour. I'm your host, Rob Lupo from Lupo Outdoors, and today we have a spectacular guest, and I'm very, very excited about having them with us. I'm going to bring her on the stage, and we're going to talk about these amazing things that she is involved with. How you
Hey,
doing?
hey Rob, I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right. How about you introduce yourself and tell us um, a, a little bit about the companies that you work with,
Yeah,
and we'll go from there.
perfect. Well, my name is Callahan Wolverton, and I am the social media and marketing specialist for Timber Creek Outdoors. We manufacture AR, MSR, and pistol parts and accessories out of Springfield, Oregon. And then I'm also the executive director for a youth nonprofit called Red Bank Outdoor Academy, where we teach conservation-focused, hunting-centric summer camps to youth ages 9 to 15 in Red Bluff, California.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now you live in the Red Bluff area right now, right?
I do. Yep, we're in Northern California, far Northern California, depending on who you talk to.
Yep, yep. Not to be confused with the rest of California. I'm allowed
Absolutely
to say
not.
that because I
Cut
moved
cut
here
them
from
off right
California.
below us.
Yep, yep. You're up near the Oregon border, aren't you?
Yep, we're about 3.5 hours south of the Oregon border and about 2 hours north of Sacramento, right up Interstate 5 at the north part of the Sacramento Valley.
That's awesome. That's a great area up there. Been there
It's so
numerous
beautiful.
times.
We don't get to
So go.
have
So,
the beach or the mountains to go skiing or snowboarding or the lakes and the rivers all within like a 1 to 3 hour radius from us. So that is pretty special.
yep, yep. So those who are watching, by the way, we're having minor technical difficulties where she keeps popping out and then she'll pop back in.
It's
So
just me.
bear with us.
I like to make things
Uh,
difficult.
Yeah, right. To make things difficult. So let's talk a little bit about Timber Creek Outdoors. So, well, actually, before we do that, let's talk about how we met.
Yes.
I was at SHOT Show this year, and she was there with the company Timber Creek,
Mhm.
and Timber Creek makes amazing products that I've always just loved and admire. She'll be right back. There she is.
Yeah.
Um, so at the very last day of SHOT Show, um, I'm like, I got to go and talk to Timber Creek, and I made a beeline out there, and that's where we met. And we ended up having this very long, wonderful conversation. She's an amazing human being, and
We did. We
so
hit it off.
oh yeah, we
Birds of a
became like
feather flock together for sure.
instant friends, just add water. It was brilliant.
Yes.
So let me show you. Let's look at Timber Creek real quick here. So this is Timber Creek. They make great chassis, Glock parts, all kinds of products here. Like one of the things I really like is they have this kit here. It's the
Our build kits.
Enforcer Carbon Kit, and it's just a great way to accessorize your AR-15, and I mean barrel shrouds and so forth. It's just really, really cool equipment and color options. So like here's your like blue option here. So you
And
can
blue anodized.
accessorize the
Yep.
AR-15, but because this is also like a lot of this is carbon you know, what's the word?
This
Like
one's carbon
uh,
fiber. The one we're looking at is our
yep,
Enforcer carbon fiber kit, but we also make a standard billet grade aluminum. And then we have a gray man kit, which is also billet grade aluminum, but that's more of like that mil spec matte, more earthly tones that a lot of the guys like.
exactly.
But one of the things we're known for is our 10 standard TC colors. So we have a colorway for pretty much anyone. And then we also do a bunch of limited edition colors. So sometimes those will come out and we'll get to introduce those at SHOT Show. And Like 2 years ago, we had a brass color, which looks amazing. And then we've had a like holographic mermaid style, one that's called Stingray, and we've done a few other ones too as a limited edition colorway. So
So cool. Absolutely so cool. You know, so this is the first thing I saw from Timber Creek when I was scrolling the web several years ago. And I was like, that's just absolutely gorgeous.
yes.
And then they go into like more detailed, parts. So like you have AR-10 upper parts,
Yep, and you can
muzzle
get things
brakes.
standalone or also in the kit. The build kit is always going to be our most popular product. One, just
Yep.
because like it grabs you, whether it's from the website or when you walk into a dealer store, the packaging is right there and it's got everything you need to accessorize. And then if there's something that you already have and you're just looking for one or two pieces, we have those as well. And then we also do our rifle chassis for all of our short actions. So we have our REM 700, our Howa Super Light, our Ruger 1022, and then we also do SIG and Glock parts. Glock for Gen 4 and Gen 5, and SIG for the P320 right now, and hopefully in the near future the P365. So, and they all come in the 10 colorways, the 10 standard colorways.
That is just the coolest thing ever. And the prices are very reasonable.
For
So
being made in
it's
America right there in Springfield,
yep,
Oregon, and for holding a lifetime warranty on all of our products, absolutely. Like comparable to others, and just knowing the kind of customer service and that, small company, strong family values that you get when you are part of the Timber Creek family, I feel like that makes it even more of a value.
absolutely, without question. This is just such great stuff. And you had a huge booth
Oh my
at
gosh,
at
yes.
SHOT Show.
We're
It's
almost
massive.
4,000 square feet. We take
Oh
up
my
two
God.
sides of the aisle. So, and we
It
bring
it
our whole
was
team with us.
everything.
It's a big family event. So we wanted that we have there make it super easy for anyone who comes in, whether they're dealers or somebody who wants to come in on like the influencer side of things, to just take a look and see everything that we have to offer. And when you offer everything in 10 colorways at least, it takes a little bit of space
Yeah.
to spread all of that out. So
But it was also nice to be there and be able to see everything firsthand.
mhm.
One thing that really impressed me with the company was the fact that everyone I met there was just so polite and professional. I mean, it
Oh my
was
gosh, our team is
an
amazing.
absolute joy.
Everybody is so enthusiastic about what they do. Every single one of us is either a shooter or a hunter or both, and we all utilize the product. So we all are out there field testing it, making sure that everything is working correctly and that we do live up to our lifetime warranty. And then we all look so forward to SHOT Show because it's such a great time to like meet new people, but we also get to catch up with our industry friends and being able to showcase our new products every single year, be like, look at this cool new thing that we just came out with. That's always fun and exciting. So it's a vibe for sure on the show floor.
Oh, it was absolutely incredible. Well, and the interesting thing is I was at the field day, right,
Hmm.
where everybody was gets to try things out, and I found the booth there and was talking to several people that was in that booth, and they're part of a competition team, if I remember right.
We do. We had a couple of
Yeah,
our Team TC folks that were there that do three gun and other shooting competitions, and others that Brandon was there, who's one of our sales reps, and he handles the Midwest. And so just nice to be able to talk to someone who actually is utilizing our products and has a passion for our products
yeah,
and
exact. I met
understands the
him.
ins and out of, what you're looking for on the range, etc.
Yeah, he was really, really nice, and it's kind of once again like I'm here at field day and I'm interviewing people. And I ended up spending more time there at that booth than I did almost any place else. And it's just the inviting atmosphere that everybody that works at Timber Creek has.
Yes.
I mean, it's you go into some booths and you ask for information or you say hi, and it's
Yep.
like they act like you're bothering them, or you know,
Yes.
another person with a
It's like
question.
pulling
Oh
teeth,
my
and you're
gosh.
like, "That's what we're here for. We're here to educate you on
Yeah.
our products and to invite you into the Timber Creek family." And I mean, when you get Rick and Kylie Fox and Brandon all together in one booth, and it's like one big old party anyways, and then to be able to showcase our new products and just get out there and get a chance to talk to people, especially being outside in the fresh air, knowing that we have to spend the next 4 days in Las Vegas
Inside.
Convention Center, like
Yeah.
everybody should be in a much better mood. Plus, you're out there and you're getting a chance to like look at new products, meet new people, meet other shooters, and then also potentially get to shoot some of these firearms and test out some of these products. Like, how can you not be in a good mood when you're there?
Oh, precisely. It I think, like I said, that really stood out to me as I walked in, and everybody from Timber Creek had a big smile on their face. Um, and she popped out again. And everybody was just so polite and kind, and it's funny. I was just walking through the booth, and people were like, "Hi, can I show you something? Can I help you with something? Do you have any questions? Is there anything I can do for you?"
Yep.
And it's funny because it's not they weren't in like an annoying way where you get in
No.
somebody's in, and it's like a pressure cell. Everybody was just happy. It's like, "Have you seen this? This is the coolest thing."
Yes.
And you guys had like a game that was going on that you guys
We
had
had our
brought
shooting
in where,
simulator and our
yeah,
photo
it's a
booth going,
simulation.
trying to
Oh my,
make it fun, make
it
it a
was
party.
so much fun. It was, people were like, "Can I get you some water? Can I get?" And I was like, "Why? This is so nice, so cool." And then I said, "Well, I'm working on a project, and for my channel, and there's a couple things I'm interested in." They said, "You need to talk to Callahan," and I'm like, "All
Yep.
right." And well, I thought it was going to be like a 5 or 10 minute conversation max. Ended up being
Nope.
like what, 40 minutes, almost
Mm-hmm.
an hour.
Yep.
And the only reason why I think we stopped is because they're closing the
Yes,
convention
because we were
center.
at the end.
And I'm like, "Well, this was the coolest conversation." And we've kept in touch, and I'm so glad I was able to get you on our podcast.
Me too.
Um, so why don't you talk to me a little bit? Let me bring the page back up real quick.
Yeah.
And why don't you talk to me briefly about um, some of the exciting things that you have that are new?
Yes. So our newest products for 2024 are going to be our newer rifle chassis. So we launched our 22 uh, rifle chassis and our Howa Superlight to go in conjunction with our REM 700 short action that we had launched last year at SHOT Show. All of our chassis are aircraft grade billet aluminum, and they all come in our 10 standard colorways, and then we can also do limited edition colors as well. But the thing about them is they are ultra light. You know, my favorite thing at SHOT Show, especially when I'm talking to someone about the rifle chassis, because I'm more of a hunter and a long range shooter. So to me, rifle chassis are more my jam. And so I'll go over there and, typically people expect me to pick the semi build up off the wall or the rifle chassis up off the wall and hand it to them. And I'm always like, oh no, no, go ahead. And I've had a couple people afterwards be like, I thought you were being kind of lazy for a salesperson to make me pick it up off the wall. And they'll go to pick it up the wall, and you can just see everyone initially like prep for a heavier rifle chassis. And so they go to do this and it goes whoink, and just completely flies up. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is so light. This is awesome. We paid homage to our initial skeletonized build out that we have done from the beginning. And so it's bolt action, short action. We do have just the REM 700, the Howa Super Light, and the Ruger 1022 right now, but we're also working on a Ruger American, and we hope to have a few more other actions and hopefully a long action as well in the works. So we're just kind of going based on, customer feedback and what everyone's looking for right now. But our rifle chassis have been a huge hit across all of our customer demographics. So that was
So current,
our big thing that we launched this
right.
year.
Yeah, I mean, and they were everywhere. It was awesome.
Yes.
The so right now you have Remington 700 and a Hawa light.
The
Is
light
that
and
correct? Or do you,
the super light. Yes.
okay. I mean, is that the 1500 light action or
I'm sorry, what was that?
is that the Hawa 1500?
Uh, I believe so. I don't quote me on that one there, but I know that it's compatible with both. So,
Perfect. Yeah.
and then the Ruger 1022.
Right, right. I was looking at that one when I was there because we're doing a Ruger build for the channel coming
Yes.
up pretty soon.
Yep.
Um, and one of the things I love is that you have like everything in burnt bronze, and I'm a burnt bronze fanatic.
That's what we bonded over because burnt bronze is my absolute favorite of our
Yep.
10 colorways. So,
Yeah, yeah. We're like burnt bronze. Yeah,
yes, team burnt bronze.
it's yeah, without question. It's funny because one of my other really good friends who was at SHOT Show as well, Mike Winters, who's been on this podcast and been on a couple of my videos. His big thing is burnt bronze. So I recently just got a Barrett in 332 I'm sorry, 338 Lupo Magnum,
Nice.
and the whole rifle's been done in burnt bronze.
Oh,
So
I
like
love it.
I was I was like, well, crap, now I have to buy it. You
Yeah.
know, uh, it's like it's
Yeah, I
burnt
can't pass
bronze.
up anything burnt bronze. So,
Yeah, it's kind of crazy sauce when it comes back down to it.
yes.
That's my problem, is my weakness. Like I just bought two Ruger um uh, single action revolvers
Hmm.
in 22 and 22 mag. And I already have a couple of those revolvers, but this year they released them in burnt bronze. I was like,
Yes.
oh, crap.
Well, I mean, I can't say anything because as a woman, I think I'm just predisposed to having like a shopping problem anyways. So, especially when they come in like one of each of those, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, it's like, yep.
Do I need
I
it?
it
Probably not. Do I want it?
yeah.
Will I make space for it? Will I find a way to make space for it? Absolutely.
And that's kind of the key, is like, do I need it? Absolutely not. Do
No.
I want it?
Oh, yeah.
Very much so. And there were they have like the short pistols, which are like 5-inch barrels, and then they have like a longer barrel, and I wanted the
Hmm.
longer barrel, so those were hard to find. And then my local Bass Pro Shop, I walked in, I went, and it was a great price, it was
VP
discounted,
coming in clutch.
and I was out there and said, do you by chance have two of them?
Yeah.
Like, because I think we only have that one. I'm like, can you check? And he goes, yeah. He goes, we have one more. It's the last one. I said, I'm buying on both. I want them
Yeah.
both.
Go ahead, pull both.
Yep. I'm like, they're mine. Yep.
Probably
Yep.
easiest sale of the
And
day too, huh?
yep. It,
Hmm.
it's, yeah, it's a hard thing to deal with.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for anything bronze, copper, anything like that. Like some variation, my favorite color is rust, so some variation of like a
Yep.
distressed brownish tan, I'm all over that.
So I'm kind of a steampunk fanatic as
Me
well.
too.
Steampunk is fun. It's
Yes, so
and
much fun.
you know and the color combinations are brilliant. So with my
Hmm.
Barrett, the core of it, the chassis and everything is all burnt bronze, and then like the barrel and action and everything is black. So I'm talking to a Cerakoter out here that's close to me, about 20 minutes away,
Yeah.
about doing the barrel and the action in copper.
Oh,
I
that will
have a
look
copper
so.
and burnt bronze combination. I was like, do I
Hmm.
need to do that? No. Do I want to do it? Oh God, yes, I do. You
I've
know,
seen some beautiful copper cerakoted and then come through and like slightly distress over with the black or the like the gunmetal look to it. So it kind of pulls it through and pops, makes it look rustic, distressed. And my goodness, does it just look perfect, in my opinion. I know I
no,
have a
no,
little bit of an
and
eclectic style, so.
And you're not wrong there. That's the thing. It's like there was a rifle that I've wanted for a long time, and it was oh my goodness, it's a Browning Hell's
Hmm.
Canyon extreme long range.
Yes.
Uh, and I bought it in 6.5 PRC,
Nice.
and I had bought my other 6.5 PRC, my Zombie Slayer, um, which is what I did 1,219 yards on my first shot.
Very impressive.
And so I'm going to do a combination because it's a completely custom rifle. I mean,
Yeah.
it's you're talking about 8 grand worth of rifle with Zombie Slayer. And then the Hell's Canyon I got for about 1,400.
Hmm.
But it's the burnt bronze, and then
Yes.
I just bought a new scope, the kind of most expensive scope I've ever paid for out of pocket. And it's burnt bronze, and I have burnt bronze rings
Yep.
from Tally, and we're just gonna put it all together. But I want to see whether or not this less than $2,000 stock rifle
Yeah.
uh can match up with my 6.5 PRC, and they're both the same range, or the same caliber. So the thing is, I was like, you know, do you need the $8,000 rifle, or can you do it with a 14, $1,500 rifle? So
So,
that's what that whole thing's about. So just so
well,
many videos coming down the pipe.
I can't wait because I will tell you, I'm in the second camp. So when I first got started with long range shooting and hunting, I was very young. I was 25 years old. I was just getting into hunting. I was working at Girls with Guns Clothing. So I was with a whole bunch, it was a woman owned company surrounded by women who all like to hunt and shoot. And my mentor, Eric Wahlberg of Intermountain Rifle Stocks, he was like, let's get you set up. I think you're going to love this. He knew my inner nerd heart for like mathematics and calculating windage and all of that stuff. So he's like, I really think that you're going to love doing this. And so I went out and I learned all the basics with him. His Cadillac rifles that he builds are, 8 to 12 to $16,000 once they're all said and done. But they're, I mean, deadly accurate and they're just absolutely gorgeous. And he's like, well, it's time that you need to get yourself a long range rifle. And I was like, look, I'm 25 years old and I am not making a lot of money. And I definitely cannot handle that kind of investment right now. And so I ended up winning a Ruger American 270 at a local houndsman dinner. It wasn't even my ticket, but I went with some friends. And one of my buddies was like, here, if you rub on this ticket, if you give it a little kiss and it's the winning ticket, I'll let you keep whatever you win. And I was like, okay. So end up
Spot
winning this
on.
Rug. I know. I'm like, I don't even know how that happened, but I ended up winning this Ruger American 270. And we went through and we cemented the barrel. We added on a Timney and then a Trigger Tech trigger to reduce the poundage. I put some Atlas bipods on it. I had a Vortex Viper
Nice.
scope. I have a really short cheek weld, and so I had to bump up my buttstock pad so that I could actually sit there and I wasn't doing this the whole time. And ended up taking it back out to the range, getting it all dialed in. The biggest thing for me was like, I knew at the time that I did not have the time or the money to go through and reload my own ammo. So I knew that I needed my gun to be able to take something great off the shelf and be pretty deadly accurate. And so I started with the Hornet 8 Precision Hunter and went out there and I hit 1,100 yards right off the bat. And of course, then
Nice.
I was hooked because I'm like, oh my gosh, got my Kestrel out. I've got my ballistics calculator app on my phone. I've got all this going on. And then people talk to me, and to this day, they're like, okay, well, that's great. That's how you got started. But what do you shoot now? And I was like, that's still my go to gun. Like, I'm in California. So everything we do, we don't hunt out of a tree stand. Everything is spot and stock. 270 is a great caliber, whether you're talking pigs, deer, even elk.
Yep.
And it's lightweight enough that I'm not like huffing and puffing, dragging it up the hillside. And I still love it. It's absolutely accurate. Now that we can't shoot lead in California, I had to switch over
I,
to, oh, Oh yeah, we are only copper all the way through the state. So talk about having
Oh,
to recalibrate everything when your gun loves a certain kind of ammunition, especially off the shelf ammo, and then you've got to go find another off the shelf one just to kind of make it work. So I cycled through a bunch of different brands, a bunch of different grainage, everything. Ended up settling on the Super Hunter, the Hornady Super Hunter in copper because they don't make the Precision Hunter in a lead-free version. So it's still accurate, but it's not my absolute favorite, but that's California for you. So to this day, my free 99 gun that I decked out and made it all work just perfectly for me has been the best gun that I've ever had. So it's my go-to gun in my
that's
safe.
actually kind of one of the things that I thought was pretty awesome about you is like when I met you, you showed me this video of you on was it your first hunt or
No, so it was one of the hunts that they filmed for GWG TV, and it was
right?
actually my long range antelope hunt out of Vaughn, New Mexico. It was my first antelope hunt that I had been on, and my first long range hunt. I'd done a lot of long range shooting before that, but truly being able to go out and apply those skills in the field with a ton of windage and in a new setting where I hadn't hunted before was absolutely incredible. And of course, I needed you to obviously see me like crawl through the cholla and waited out, and I definitely needed everyone to see me, cry on camera after I got done harvesting my antelope. So it's fine. It's fine.
That that was so freaking awesome. I mean,
It was.
it was such a beautiful shot,
Yes.
but I think it's so cool. I mean, you work here for like Timber Creek,
Hmm.
which is all rifle and gun parts,
Yep.
but you're not fake. I mean, you're a shooter as
No.
well, so it's
Hmm.
like I have a lot of respect for that. You're not just like, oh, it's just a job. I mean,
No,
you're
this is a
passionate
lifestyle.
about
This
your
is a
product.
way of life. I got into hunting because I love to eat. And so I was like, man, if I want to eat good, organic, naturally sourced meat, I better get my butt out there and start putting in some work. And so for me, it is a lifestyle, but it's a livelihood. And I think you and I have been to enough shot shows and to enough and hunting industry functions to know that people can tell when you're not truly authentic about what you do and when you're just putting on airs, you're not passionate about it, and nobody wants to interact with people who are just going through the motions or like, oh, check this out,
Yeah.
Vanna White in it. Like for me, I'm like, I want to know that I have field tested it and I stand behind it and I know exactly where it came from. I know the people who are manufacturing it and I know the company values that I am representing, and to me that is super important.
Now, what's your personal favorite product at Timber Creek?
Oh, 100% our rifle chassis, our REM 700 short action, and the Ruger
Yep.
1022, because who doesn't love a 1022?
Just
Like anybody who says
the
that they're
problem
not a
with
fan of a 1022, I'm like, boy, bye.
you're fake.
Yeah, get
You're
out of here. Who doesn't love a little plinkster? Come on.
yep. So, what I didn't know is that when we were first talking,
Hmm.
I didn't know about the day camp, or the skills camp that you're
Yeah.
involved with, and you've been involved with that for how long now?
So I have been on the fundraising committee since 2014 when we were doing our big fundraising dinner for it. And then I came on as the executive director in 2021. So we have a youth nonprofit, tax exempt nonprofit called Red Bank Outdoor Academy. And we teach hunter education and firearm safety, outdoor survival, fishing, archery, and a whole bunch of other like conservation centric, but hunting focused sessions to youth, to boys and girls ages 9 to 15, not only in California, but we've had students come from as far as Canada. We've had a whole group come from Taiwan to come out and see what ranch life in America was like. And then we've had students come from Florida, Montana, Idaho, Texas, Oregon, all of that to come out, and they earn their hunter safety if they're a level 1 student. So we are certified hunter's ed instructors. That's actually where I'm headed tomorrow to do my annual training before summer camp start. And then our level 2s get to kind of move up and they get more advanced shotgun, rifle, fishing skills, etc. But we try and keep it fun because, you know, kids that are ages 9 to 15, they're so used to being in front of the TV, in front of their video games, their iPads, on their cell phones. Their attention span is not nearly as long as it probably was when you and I were their age. And
Yep.
so we want to make sure that the way that we're teaching them is not only getting them started on the right foot and making sure that they're not learning bad safety habits, bad form, and they're also learning how to do start to finish. So our big thing is like, we don't want students who just want to come out and shoot something, but they will not go through and they won't clean their game or they won't eat their game. It's one thing we always say, you don't have to love it, but you at least have to try it, because we're
Yep.
not out here to just be like, here, have terrible form, be absolutely unsafe around everyone, and then don't represent what it means to be an ethical sportsman or a sportswoman. And that's not what we're about. So we found a lot of times that there are students nowadays who don't have someone in their life. They're interested in hunting or fishing or getting outdoors, but they don't have someone in their life who can go through and take the time to teach them, take them out in the field, take them to the range. And so that's where we step in. And we do it all in a summer camp style. So we still have like swimming and homemade ice cream nights, and we have an astronomer club that comes out and they bring their big $2,000 telescopes, and we do some stargazing at night. And we have a track a buck competition where we do a fake blood trail and we group the kids up in groups of like 4 or 5, and they have to work together to track their wounded animal, and the quickest team wins a prize. And then everything we do, of course, at our camp is a competition. So we have a shotgun competition, a rifle competition, a biggest bass, a first bluegill, and then the kids will get custom buckles, like Western buckles at the end, as well
Oh,
as some gift
wow.
cards and some fishing poles, things like that. So we really try hard to set our students up for success. And I'm super proud that this is our 26th summer of hosting camps out at Red Bank Outfitters, which is the ranch that we host our camps at. And in the 26 years, last year was our biggest and our best year. We had 251 students come through our program in the, and I issued over 150 new hunter ed certificates. So that
That's
makes my heart
awesome.
proud. I don't have children, so all of my students end up kind of becoming part of that, and I'm always very proud of them and everything they accomplish, especially when, I'm sure you've seen it, when you see a child who has never caught a fish before or who has never busted a clay before or was super scared of the shotgun recoil, and you see them just absolutely shine and excel and they're so proud of themselves, like, it's enough to bring tears to my eyes. So
Now, do you use 12 or 20 gauge for the
So
kids?
we use 12, 20, and 28 gauge. So our big thing that is
Okay.
important to us is we have students of all stature, of all weight, of all height, of all skill level. And so our big thing is we fit every shotgun to our students to make sure that they are starting with the best experience that they possibly can. You know, too big, too much recoil, too heavy, their arms get tired, and then we have to stop sooner than we would like to. And so that's a big thing for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, it's I remember the first time I exploded my first clay, and at that very moment I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do.
Did you feel
You know, so I
unstoppable?
it was crazy.
Yes.
Absolutely crazy. So like, I bought a inexpensive, I got like a Mossberg, 500 over and under 12 gauge shotgun. Um and I went out and I joined a skeet, team, and I started shooting skeet, and I outgrew that shotgun in less than a month. It's just
Yep.
like I'm like, this is it. I love this. I At that time, within a month, I was doing sporting clays. I was doing skeet and trap, and I'm like, I need a better
Oh,
gun. So
yeah.
I ended up buying a Beretta DD10
Nice.
EELL.
Mhm.
I mean, $15,000 gun, and
Yeah.
then it was upgraded. So I ended up getting a shorter barrel,
Nice.
for for skeet, and I got all the tube inserts to go all down to 410 so I could, properly compete. All of the chokes, everything, put it in a K gun case that locks so I can fly with it.
Yep.
And when it was said and done, it was about 20 grand worth of shotgun, and it's still on my wall right now. Like,
Which is
so next
that's
week
yeah.
you'll see it.
That's
It's
one of
crazy.
those investments that, people always talk about, like, oh, I want to hand down my grandpa's gun or my dad's gun to my child. And we have a lot of parents that'll come to us afterwards and they'll be like, wow, my student really took to this and they're really excited. They're going to, join the trap team, or they want to go out and shoot sporting clays before they go hunting for the first time, whether they're going to go upland or duck hunting. And they'll ask us for firearms recommendations. Some students who come, over 60% of our students receive some form of scholarship to be able to attend camp. And I'm very proud of the fact, because if I had been able to attend camp at their age, I would have been a 100% scholarship student. And so I'm very proud of the fact that we're able to help our students with their tuition that much to make sure that they can attend camp. But I have one very special student, and he has been an incredible asset to our program. He comes every single week to help mentor and teach, especially on our fishing day. And then he always comes out for one full week of camp himself. And his family and I have grown very close. And last year, he told me that he had actually been working after school and on the weekends because he was saving up for his first shotgun, because the year prior had been his first year at camp. And so I told him, I was like, listen, if you help me mentor these kids, especially on fishing day, and you come out and you just be a good example of what it means to be a great student and an alumni of RBOA, I was like, I will help match you for whatever you're short at the end of the summer. And at the end of the summer, when
Aw,
camp was all said and done, I ended up matching him. He had raised 350 and I matched him 150. And then I talked with his mom and we went over shotgun options and everything. And he went down and was able to get his first shotgun. And man, he is so proud. He brought it to our winter hunt camp, which is where students who've come to summer camp at least that year in the past can come out and they can go upland hunting with us. And he was so proud to bring it out in his case. And he's like, this is a nice shotgun. I worked really hard for this. And it's just like, I cannot tell you how much that just melts my heart and just verifies to me that I'm doing the right thing and that I'm in this for the right reasons, because that was heartwarming.
that is so spectacular.
It
And
was.
and it's it's so rewarding. I mean, so a lot of people are like, they get uppity about, kids in firearms,
Oh my
which is
gosh.
a mistake because honestly, once you go through like a hunter safety course, um, your level of safety and knowledge is just incredible. When I was 10, I moved to Montana to go live with my father, who is a
Hmm.
very strong gun enthusiast. And before I was allowed to touch any of his firearms, I had to go through a hunter safety course.
Yep.
And I didn't have to just pass, I had to ace that course.
Yeah.
So there was about 25 of us in that course, and only two of us got a perfect score in that class, me and some adult. Um,
Beautiful.
and I took it 100% serious. My dad said,
Hmm.
ace the course or you have to take it again. And I aced it. And then he started teaching me how to shoot, and I was allowed to, review his firearms, and we, talk about, what's appropriate to shoot, what's not appropriate to shoot.
Yep.
He took me grouse hunting. So the first
Which
time
is
I ever
also,
went hunting,
that's a perfect
went after
introductory hunt.
but yeah, he had a 20 gauge shotgun, and that was bloody incredible,
Hmm.
and very, very exciting. And there's a funny story about my dad and me out grouse hunting for at one time. So we brought a good friend of his, Joe. Now Joe's Italian, just like my dad and me, and Joe is terrified of bears.
Oh,
So through,
goodness.
for the hour and a half drive up to my dad's favorite place to hunt grouse, all he kept talking about, "You sure there's no bears?" I don't want to see a bear. Right there. My dad's like, there's no bears there, Joe. I've been hunting there for years. I've never seen a bear, blah, blah, blah. And so my dad, when he hunts, he's like, uh, I want to say Elmer Fudd because he's like just stalking away, he's
Yep.
just, don't, you know, and Joe's down the road over by where the vehicle is. And I'm behind my dad, and I'm kind of looking around, and I look over, and there's this big black bear walking towards us, and I'm like, Dad,
Go figure.
Dad, I'm 10 years old. He
Yep.
goes like, Robbie, quiet. I don't want you to scare the birds. I'm like, but Dad, and he goes, Robbie, be quiet. And I'm like, but Dad, and he's like, what? I said, a bear. And my dad goes, oh, no shit. There's a bear. and my
I'm
and
sure,
I'm
I'm
like,
sure Joe
what
was
are we
not so
doing?
nonchalant about that news.
I was like, holy crap, there's a bear. And the bear kind of got up on his back legs and he looked at us and all that stuff. And then he just kind of went back down, turned around, and went running down the road. And my dad's like, oh my God, I have never seen a bear up here. That was crazy. And I said, hey, isn't Joe down
That
there?
way.
And then we hear this blood-curdling scream and we go
Woo.
running down there. And Joe's like sitting on his knees. He goes, "Bubba,
There's a
bear.
bear.
And we're like, Joe, you're all right. You scared the bear away. And he goes like, I just want to go home. We need to go
Yeah.
home right
He's done hunting. That's the first time you ever say, "Oh, you'll never do this," or "We'll never see this," or "We'll never
Yeah.
get lost," or "Never get stuck." That you've pretty much done it, and it's almost guaranteed that something like that will happen.
Oh, funniest thing ever. Oh my goodness
Yes.
gracious. Yeah, my dad was kind of crazy. So I mean, I went up grouse hunting with him a couple of times. We never went after any big game, but like he took me to his favorite trout fishing area, right? And it's
Hmm.
called Rattlesnake River because there was hundreds of rattlesnakes. So we wore
Mm.
like protective boots, that went up to like
Hmm.
over your knee, for to
Snake
protect you from
gators.
rattlesnakes.
Yep.
Huh? Oh my God, it was crazy. But like, we're driving down there and there's all these dead rattlesnakes on the road that got run over and all that stuff.
No.
And my dad would sit there and
Turn
he had a
around or.
22 pistol on his hip with shot in it, right?
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden you would hear and you just pow and put it back in and keep fishing, keep fishing. I was blown away. It's funny because I'm sitting there and there was rattlesnakes everywhere,
Yeah.
but for the most part, they kind of stay away from you.
Hmm.
And I wasn't scared at all. Nothing ever tried to strike me. But yeah, that was oh my God, the size of the trout were just monsters. We
Oh,
were
I
catching
bet.
just beast out there because nobody goes out there to
I was
go
gonna say
fish
nobody's down there because you call it Rattlesnake River, and everyone's like, "Nope, no, I'm staying away from
for a
there."
reason. Yeah,
Yes.
it was crazy. So we got a good 15 minutes left here.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk a little bit more about Red Bank Outdoor Academy. How did you get involved with it?
So when I was starting to get into the outdoor industry back when I was 24, 25, they would hold this annual fundraising dinner here in Tehama County in Red Bluff. And at the time, it was supporting NWTF, their Jake's program, and a few of the other programs that were more centered around youth. And I had come with a lot of years of experience volunteering for Ducks Unlimited. I'm actually still a Ducks Unlimited volunteer. I chair the Humboldt
Just
County
to be a
chapter.
member.
Yep. And actually you'll get to see my face in an upcoming video that they're doing for the Ocean Ranch project out in Humboldt County. And so I jumped in there to talk a little bit about what that's like. But I came with all this volunteering experience and I was like, I would love to put my volunteering experience back into the outdoor industry. And I had an opportunity to meet with everybody who was helping to put on this dinner. And I was like, well, perfect. I have a lot of event planning skills and I love talking to people and I love being able to raise funds for the kids. So let me get in on this. And so in 2014, I joined in on the fundraising dinner committee and I just got more and more involved. And that's where I stayed with it until 2021, when Red Bank Outdoor Academy had actually separated from the original nonprofit that they had founded in 2005. And they started Red Bank Outdoor Academy and they said, hey, we're looking for an executive director. We know you have a lot of, operational management experience, a lot of systems flows experience with the parents. So do you want to come on and do this? And they're like, it's just part-time right now, but we'd love to get you involved. And I just dove in feet first and just got started. And I've been there. This will be my fourth summer doing it. And I could not be happier. And I just love to see the program grow and grow. Our partnerships and our endorsements with like California Ducks Unlimited. We put together a video that you can check out on Red Bank Outdoor Academy collaborative video that California DU and RBOA put together that kind of goes over the legacy of the camp and what we teach. And if I didn't work there, I would volunteer there because it's one of those things where it's just so rewarding. And it's so crucial that if we're not out here teaching the next generation of hunters or outdoors men and women or fishers, any of that, who is going to take our spot when we are too old, when we're retired, when we're crippled up and we're not out utilizing, all of the great outdoors and recreating and hunting, and we're not pouring money into conservation programs and buying hunting license that help with the hunters ed programs. If it's not us, there's not going to be anybody else to do that. And it's a quick way, especially out here in California, to guarantee that they will go after more hunting rights and we will lose those opportunities. And so someone has to be out here educating these students in a proper and a safe manner. And if we don't do it, I don't know who else is going to do it. So I'm just absolutely thrilled to be able to play a part in what should be a monumental occasion and memories for these kids and how they learn to hunt, they learn to shoot, they went hunting with us, they learned to, turkey and duck call, they learned CPR and first aid for outdoor survival, and then they just got to spend a super fun filled week with us out at Red Bank Outfitters and hang out with a bunch of like-minded kids. So
That's awesome. That's really awesome. You hit on to a really good point there. Um, a lot of people don't understand the the monies that people pay for ammunition, firearms, archery equipment, camping gear,
hunting
survival gear,
license.
all
Yep.
hunting licenses, fishing gear, all the taxes from all that go into preserving land,
Mm-hmm.
and forestry and ranger paychecks and so forth. And um, there's a lot of people, oh, we should just ban X, Y, and Z. And I said, well, who's going to pay
Who's going to
the
pay
land?
for
Well,
it?
it's not the taxes. I'm like, but you don't understand. It's our taxes, the ones who are buying the equipment. It's
Yes.
that tax money. It's not all the other tax money. It's
No.
specifically that tax money that goes in to preserve like the national forests and so forth. And the public land that people can go in and on and hunt and shoot, all that's paid for by the taxes of
Yes.
hunters and fishery and people who are into archery, and people don't get it. They don't get
No,
it at all.
they don't. And that's why the first class that my students come to, the day that they get to camp, they come to my class and I teach a class on hunters as conservationists. And we go over the Pittman-Robertson Act and how important it is to understand how many billions of dollars through the history of this that hunters and outdoor enthusiasts have contributed to that, but that if those opportunities were not there to buy hunting license, to buy firearms, to buy ammunition, then there would be no money there. And if less people are hunting and less people are shooting, then we're also getting less money. And that money covers all of our conservation programs, not only for wildlife, but also for public lands. And it also covers the hunters ed program that we teach. So to be able to have funding to do the instruction to make sure that they can certify someone like me to teach your children the proper hunter safety curriculum and send out those certificates, which are dang hard to get if you misplace one. So it's like, hold on to them for dear life. But all of
Exactly.
that is what pays for that. And there's a lot of people who don't get that. So I always ask my students, I'm like, do you go camping with your family? Do you go kayaking or whitewater rafting? Do you go bird watching? And, inevitably there'll be hands that go up. And I was like, do you typically have to buy anything for that? And they're like, well, no, sometimes we have to pay for the campground. I was like, yeah, but there's bathrooms at the campground, right? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, is there toilet paper in there? And they go, well, duh. And I'm like, well, somebody's got to pay for that toilet paper. So every time you come to the campground, that's what you're paying for. So you're most definitely not paying for conservation programs and other things. And, I hate to bring like politics into it, but I also touch really briefly on the fact that there are a lot of other nonprofit organizations that claim to be for animals and wildlife, etc., who are only providing 1 to 20 cents on the dollar of every donation that they receive that actually goes to help animals and to feed animals, especially in the shelters, etc. And sometimes the students aren't totally aware of that. They just see really sad dog commercials and they're like, well, yeah, if I donate $20, then of course my money is going to go to help those poor sad dogs. And we're like, well, not actually. You'd be better off putting money into buying hunting license, tags, ammo, etc., knowing that those are going to government mandated programs like conservation and hunters education, than risking it on someone who's just telling you that, yes, your money is going to go help save these poor little dogs.
Exactly. So you mentioned up that when you first have your first class, you talk about a specific act. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about that act and why it's important?
Yes. So basically, when hunters and conservationists had gotten together back in the early 1900s, they realized that there was a need to have some establishment that helps go over where the money is going to for conservation, not only for land, but for wildlife as well. And then they also realized that there wasn't a set curriculum for hunters education. And so Teddy Roosevelt, everyone knows Teddy, how much of a great outdoor and a conservationist he was, and partnering with other people in the industry who are more focused on the conservation aspect. So it was very cool. And my kids always think it's awesome to see a hunter and a conservationist come together and be able to agree on these things all the way back. And I always go back in the early 1900s. I'll be like, I was born in the late 1900s, and they get a huge kick out of that. But we talk about the fact that they were able to put their differences aside, their differences in terms of harvesting animals and how we protect wildlife, and were able to help pass legislation. And Ducks Unlimited was a huge driving force in that. They were one of the first nationwide outdoor conservation groups that were raising funds to protect wildlife and wetlands, and go through and push through legislation to make sure that there was continuous source of funds coming in from hunting license, hunting tags, the sale of guns and ammo, and other specialty equipment. And a portion of those taxes were going into specialty funds that made sure that they were then getting dispersed to wildlife conservation groups and hunters ed programs in each state. And then I always explain to the students that even though California is a huge state and our population is huge, our population of hunters who are buying hunting license and tags compared to say someone like Texas or Arkansas or Alabama or South Carolina. And so we're not getting the portion of proceeds that we would get based on just our general population. We're getting it based on the population of hunters and outdoor enthusiasts that are buying these tags and contributing to the pot. So it's very hard for wildlife activists and environmental activists who don't believe in hunting and shooting to have anything to say about it, because we're the ones who are actually funding the programs that are continuing to make sure that there are wildlife and lands. So that's one of the things that I really try and drive home to my students. That's why it's my first class at camp, and try and give them something to like think about as they spend the next 4 days at camp and what they're learning about from other instructors and other seminars.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive stuff. It
Mm-hmm.
so to me, when I was younger and I went to camp, camp was more, it's like, oh, we have arts and crafts and we have some fun stuff and some hiking. but this is pure educational.
In a
It's
in a
learning
fun
new
format,
skills.
but yes.
Yeah. And the educational aspect of it, I really, really respect because it's vitally important for the youth to understand how this all began.
Yep.
Because the majority of hunters and fishermen, it's not about just harvesting, it's also the respect to the animal.
Yes.
So the attitude is like, if I'm going to harvest an animal, I have to do it in the most humane way possible.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know any hunters or fishermen who are into making any animals suffer. I don't
No.
know a single one. It's like I've been bass fishing forever, and I've never killed a bass.
Yep.
Although bass is delicious, um, I've never had the heart to kill a bass. I have too much respect because it's a challenge to catch them. So,
Mm-hmm.
my whole life, it's always been catch and release for bass, and I've been lucky not to, gut snag one or anything where I have to harvest it. I've been very, very
Yeah.
fortunate, but the key is respect. Respect to the nature. I mean, like whenever I go fishing, if I see line tangled up someplace, I'll remove the line, pack it into a bag, to throw it away in a safe manner.
And that's
But
integrity. That's not just respect. That's
yeah,
integrity. It's doing the right thing even when no one is looking, and it's respect for our natural resources. And it's the ethics and the
precisely.
optics of what it means to be an outdoors man or woman. And we really try and drive that home at the camp. We also talk about like what poaching is, and just because there might be someone who is starving and they're doing this, there's still laws and then rules and respect that we have to follow. And in this new day and age of social media and everybody has a camera in their pocket, I even touch on a little bit about what to do if you're confronted and someone's trying to videotape you and trying to provoke you to do something. It's now something that you have to think about because that could give a poor image for everyone in the with the lion and the dentist, things like that. If someone doesn't understand the
Yeah,
conservation side of things, these kids need to understand that that could potentially happen to them and they need to be prepared for that.
it's definitely not reacting poorly towards a Karen or a Kevin because
Yes,
they're filming, and what they want you to do is blow up and be unprofessional so they
absolutely.
can use it for more hunting or
It's
shooting
a
or
smear
fishing.
campaign at that point. You can't talk sense
It's
into
all it
someone
is.
who's reacted with emotion.
Right, right. Often it's just, it's okay to disagree with them, but be,
It's being
respectful
respectful.
and be professional about it
Be a good
and say,
steward of the land and be a good representative of what it means to be an ethical hunter and an ethical fisherman.
yeah, you hit a point there, stewardship. You
Yes,
know, um, Whenever you go on land, it's like, one of the first things I learned when I was a Boy Scout, actually a Cub Scout even, is always leave it cleaner than it was when you got there. You
absolutely.
know,
Pack in,
um,
pack out.
if I see cigarette butts or trash or whatever, and I'm fishing, I put it all into I carry a trash bag
I
I'll
always
carry
carry a
it,
trash
and I'll
bag
carry it
too.
all out. Yep,
Yep, you never
yep,
know what you're gonna run into spent shotgun shells that someone missed or didn't pick up, lures,
yep,
line, just regular trash, things like that. Even and I mean, it comes down to even things as like if you're taking your dog with you and your dog poops in the middle of the trail, you get a stick and you brush it off the trail. Like you know that you are sharing the
yep.
space with other people, and it's just about being respectful because you never know who's watching. And you never know what the next generation has seen because most children learn by watching an adult do something. It's not what we tell them because anybody who has
Exactly.
kids knows you could tell them a million times and they're still not going to do it. But they learn by watching us and what we do. And that's what we're here to do is we're
By
teaching by
example.
example. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And like if you're out in the water, it's being respectful. If it says no wake zone, don't go zooming through with your jet ski, respecting the fishermen and so forth. So, we're at the bottom of the hour. This went
Yes, we are.
really
It went by
fast.
so fast. It kind of
Yeah,
reminds me reminiscent of our convo at SHOT Show too. Just whoop. Next
I
thing we know,
know.
40
It's
minutes
like,
had gone
we
by.
mean they're closing, it was such a
Yes.
pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on to the
Thank
show.
you for having me.
Why don't you uh give us oh, there she is back. Why don't you tell us how they can get involved with the Red Bank Outdoor Academy, or if you want to make donations, um, you know, uh, tell us a little bit about that,
Absolutely.
and
So
before we leave.
yes. So if you want to donate to our youth nonprofit, we are tax exempt. So any contributions are considered charitable contributions for tax purposes, federal tax purposes, I should say. And we do on our social media, we have our link tree, and there's an option to go in and donate. And we also are running a GoFundMe right now. We've had some amazing people step in and help because the venue where we currently house our boys, which make up 60 to 90% of our students every week, recently burnt down in a devastating fire.
Oh,
And it's at prime
oh,
time, of course. So we're trying to raise funds to make sure that we have adequate sleeping and shower and kitchen facilities for our students for the next 1 to 2 summers while the lodge is being rebuilt. So all of those links are on our social media. And then if someone wants to get involved, we really love people just talking about our program. And if someone has something to contribute where they have a skill, an essential skill, or something that they would like to teach or to talk about, we're always open to having people come out and do that. They do have to be fingerprinted and background checked because we are working with children, but that has never been an issue for anyone who's offered to come out and talk to our students or to highlight a different aspect of the outdoor industry. So, and then just word of mouth. A lot of people don't even know we've existed, and we've been doing this for 26 summers. So, I would hate for it to be another 26 summers before it makes its way to the East Coast and more students know about us. So,
Um, also, if people are interested, I have a Patreon page, Lupo Outdoors, for my
mhm.
channel, and basically, in a nutshell, for the rest of this year, any donations that come onto my Patreon page will be donated to that camp.
Thank you so
Um,
much. That's so
from this moment
sweet.
on. Oh, I wish this existed when I was a kid.
I
It would
know.
have been spectacular. So that being said, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
I'm your host, Robert Lupo from Lupo Outdoors. Check out the channel. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions about the camp, I will put a link to the website in the description of this podcast shortly after we end here. And you can go directly to the website. You can make donations. If you have a kid that would really enjoy this, I highly recommend it. I was looking it over and just completely jelly that this, I'm like,
We joke we
I'm
should have an
old
adult
now,
summer camp to do it. We should do a long
right?
weekend for adults.
I would, I would fly all the way out to California for that in a heartbeat.
I'll make sure I tell
Um,
our board of directors that.
Please, that would be awesome. Thank you very much for
Thank
joining
you.
us here at the Outdoor Adventure Hour. Um, Once again, I'm Robert Lupo, and this is Callahan, and we will see you next week. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.